I had a situation happen where someone insulted me, and that's fine. I shouldn't care. I should just let it roll off me, be indifferent. Like, why let anything bother me, right? Like, just be so good at being forgiving and just forgive. Like, just get over it. Like, stop acting like that. Why are you bringing the whole party down? Why do you got to take everything so personally? Okay, the thing about forgiveness is that forgiveness is a process. It's not like you can just stop and be forgiving. It's not a single event. And I'm a human, right? Like, I'm going to feel things. I need to process things. Like, if I just, sweep everything under the rug, or I don't acknowledge anything and I dismiss stuff, like, I'm not acknowledging that human part of myself. I'm not acknowledging my emotions. I'm not saying like, hey, yeah, that hurt me. So there's a harm done, right? Like, I got insulted. Someone said something that rubbed me the wrong way. And my job as someone that's in recovery, and I'm working recovery, and I'm trying to account myself in this journey and as a person in my life, I feel the hurt and the pain. And when I get angry, I usually get angry when I get hurt, right? And when I get angry for a really long time, it means it's from childhood. And I've learned that about myself in this program. So I get insulted because someone called me something that I work so hard at basically not being. So I like to consider myself as a very considerate person, and that's a very good quality of mine. And I've had to learn also how to manage that quality, like to not be too considerate where I'm losing myself and forgetting myself and only thinking about you. Like, I can be considerate, but I got to be careful with how far I go with that consideration, right? So the insult comes, and it is a bit of an attack on my character. And so it came out of nowhere, and it's similar behavior from someone that used to do this to me in my life before. So the wound is deep, and it comes from childhood. And so when those strikes happen or those darts are thrown, and I already have an existing wound from childhood, it's, for me, like, my reaction can take over, like, just like that. Like I get emotional, like, right away. And that's okay to be emotional. Like, so I get upset and I get angry, right? And the thing about, like, anger is that, yes, it's not a very pleasant emotion, but it's a strong emotion. It's necessary. I can't not ever be angry. Like, sometimes I'm going to be angry. And it usually leads to, like, for me, it's usually because of disappointment and hurt and pain. Like, that's usually what's under my anger is I'm a now hurting person. And, normally when someone's, like, insulting or bringing you down, like, that's usually showing signs of there could be, like, low self-esteem issues there. There could be that maybe they're hurting. Like, hurt people are hurting, hurt people. So for whatever reason, that person said their insult, said their inconsiderate thing, accused me of being inconsiderate, like, things that are really obvious that I'm not, which for some reason, that is just such a deep trigger with me. Like, but the thing is like, do I need them to acknowledge my value? So because I got so hurt, I took on the comment as true because of my deep childhood wound. I took the comment on, like, as if it was true, just like that. And then all my insides fired right up. And so I couldn't shake it. And then the conversation went too long. Like, so I left, right? I left, I took care of myself. I don't need to stay in an unsafe situation for me. I don't need to continue a ridiculous conversation and then justify myself and justify my worth, but I think because it came out of nowhere, it was unexpected. And I don't handle well with unexpected stuff like that. Like, I'm just not as strong enough yet to, like, completely be able to like, sometimes I don't get my shield up and, quick enough. Like sometimes stuff just gets in and hits my heart. But I feel the hurt and then I feel the anger, and then I want my peace back, right? And so this calls for me to find forgiveness and to become forgiving and accepting is a process. Hey, just be nice. Like, just stop drinking. Just stop acting that way. Like all these things I have to change in my life don't just happen like that. Like, it takes like a process of work, and to get that anger processed and through, find out what's really happening, so I can open up to compassion, and so I can reduce resentment in my life, right? Like I'm trying to be a compassionate person. I'm trying not to let everything bother me, but I also want to feel, and then I also don't want to be living in resentment. So it's like, that's a lot going on right there. So, there's stuff that I don't get on the phone for. Like I do say on here all the time that I get on the phone, and I do, but there's also stuff I don't get on the phone for. So it's not like I'm on the phone all day. Anyways, I'm on the phone because this was like a deep childhood wound. And when I kind of like in anger for too long, it's not even about the insult that happened anymore. It's about that little girl inside is hurt again and is 5 years old again. And someone was mean to me, and I'm shocked, and so I'm that little girl again, getting hurt, and I'm not going to change that person, right? So I don't stay there and explain what they've done is not okay. I take my pain and I leave, and I'm talking these things out, and I have to accept that, like, that person does those things, right? And they're going to continue to do those things until their awareness reaches the point of where they might want to change something. But they're not going to change anything because of me, because of my tears, because of my communicating. It's all going to happen on their own time. And processing all my feelings and taking time, leaving the situation, doing, maybe reading the 12 promises, like talking on the phone, like whatever it takes to get my peace back. And then like to process how to forgive and to forgive. Right. And so it's like, to me, it's just going to happen when it happens. And I do like read literature. I talk on the phone, maybe I need another meeting, like, maybe I need space and time, but I'm not going to go talk to that person and get angry at them and ream them out. I'm just I have to find a way to just accept that they're like that, like that I'm just trying to accept that that's the way that is. And then that's what's going to lead me to my peace. And, this is conscious work. Like, forgiveness doesn't just happen to me. Like, I have to work at forgiveness. I have to work at looking and accepting. Like, forgiveness is a living, breathing thing. And if I want to be free, it doesn't mean I'm condoning the thing that happened. Like, why do I have to forgive? Well, there was a harm that happened. Like, that event did happen, but forgiveness is not the event. Like, it's not the single event. The harm happened. That person is just going to do that. And then I'm just going to try my hardest to accept that situation, right? And I think it's really tricky to work on that to get, because it feels like I'm saying that what they did is okay and what they did is not okay. But what can I do to rewire my brain? So when that comment went all the way in because I didn't have my shield up quick enough, what I can say to myself is, you know what? I am a really considerate person. Like, I do give I do give lots of communication. I give lots of warnings. I am a really good person. Like I have to start basically rewriting the insult that was said because I had taken it on. That's why I got so upset. So I have to rewrite that insult in my head. And I have to continue to do that. And it's basically making myself not believe the insult anymore and then filling that space that got in with something good, with something better, with a new behavior. By acting on that transaction, that insult that happened and leaving, I acted on that in a healthy way. I didn't start saying, like, name calling them and I didn't start throwing the fire back. I was pointing a bit at what they were doing, and I realized there was just such a wall there that I was like, forget this. Like, I just have to take care of myself now. Like I'm not making people see what they're doing. I just need to take care of myself. So I'm rewriting the script in my head and saying the good things that I do know about myself, right? Because I feel like my value system is being attacked here, and I took those feelings on. So the good thing though about like anger, and that flares up in me, like I always have to work on that. But the good thing about anger is like that anger came up, but it's also a sign that acceptance could be right around the corner. Like it's also a sign that acceptance is settling in, that I've like that last burst of energy of like, God, they're always like that. Like, that's also just me, like really accepting a hard truth. Like, and when I can really accept that hard truth, I can let it go. I can let them go. I can go and be free now. So it's just like, sometimes that anger is just like, I can't believe they're like that. Like, and that like last burst of energy of anger can also be a sign that like, I'm really starting to remember this person to my core, that they do this, and sometimes I really need that like, every once in a while, I just like need that wake up to be like, what was I thinking? Like, why did I think they were going to be different? Like, when I start thinking that different, that gets me in trouble. So trying to like remember like that is the way that situation is or that person is. And yeah, it's just, I think that it's nice to know that sometimes like, my anger is scary. Like, I don't want to feel these awful emotions, right? It feels uncomfortable, but it's like, okay, like, what's this telling me though? Right? Like, something's not okay with me. Something did hurt me. Is it just a thing, or is it from childhood? And then, that's like part of starting the process. But if I just go like, whatever, it's nothing, like, I just don't even like acknowledge my own pain or that what happened, it doesn't mean it's okay. I do need to acknowledge that was not okay for me. But if it went all the way in, I got to rewrite the thing that I said in my head about that insult, because I believe that it was true. I believed that nasty thing was true, and the nasty thing is not true. And And then I am taking ownership of my body, of my feelings, of my brain. And when I like rewrite those little things that happen out in the world, and I put the good in, that starts outweighing all the bad. Like, that recovery side of my brain starts becoming the stronger message that I say in my brain, and I think that probably this insult kind of came out of nowhere, and I wasn't prepared for it, but I think it just kind of gave me like that extra, like, oh yeah, like that happens with that person, like I kind of think for the next while here, I'm going to remember a bit better. And I'm just be like, oh, they're doing that thing, they're being mean, they're being mean. And it's not because I'm less than and worthless. It's because they're not okay about something. And for some reason, it's coming over at me. Their meanness isn't because I'm bad. Like, their meanness comes from somewhere else, and that's their journey and their stuff. But, sometimes things are going to sting, and then sometimes, and maybe that because it's showing me like where my healing is. It's showing me, that I'm triggered by something, and my triggers are my triggers. And thus, when I'm getting triggered, that's where all the healing is. That's where the work has to get done. There's something still unresolved there. And then my anger shows me where problems are, shows me where I need to set up boundaries. It signals, like it's all this like internal communication with my external world and my internal world, like that relationship of what's happening, what's coming in and going and across and back around. And, it's like, I'm trying to find that flow of like, okay, like, good things are coming in, but sometimes those nasty things come in. And then most of the time I can keep the nasty stuff out, but sometimes it just gets in, and then it gets in the wrong spot, and it shows, and then it's from childhood. And then I have like, okay, I got like more to process here. Maybe I need more time. Maybe I need to say more nice things to myself until I feel better. But all of this accepting and forgiving is all my job. It's all my job. And that person, I don't need them to say sorry. I don't need to be them to be different. I just need to figure out, how do I get my peace back? Like this is about my peace. This is about rewriting my brain. This is about recovery. And the more that I practice these like happenings and I do this work, less will be affecting me. But I need to let and acknowledge that things do affect me. Like that did affect me. If I just dismissed it right away, I wouldn't get to the real work that had to be done. I wouldn't get on the phone. I wouldn't acknowledge that this is from childhood. I would have probably just stayed angry if I didn't do the process of this work. I risk that I would have stayed angry all day. I would have said the same negative thing that person said to me. So I would have reinforced the insult in my brain. And then what happens when that anger doesn't get processed? It turns into resentment. And then resentment makes my heart hard. And I don't want to have a hard heart. And I don't want to have resentment, right? I want to move on. And so it doesn't mean what they said and did was right. It just means like, how do I move on? And this is like letting go, like processing how to let go is not just like letting go. It's like, it takes time, work, attention, focus, consciousness, all of these things. And that is how I keep healing through events that happen in my life with people, places, and things, and being able to release those people to the way that they are. And it also, the more I accept what's happening to me and accepting me, it's also going to help me accept other people too. So it's a really back and forth thing going on here. So I believe that forgiveness is a process. It can take as much time as it needs to, but as long as I'm like actively working on like the solution to feel better, to get to my peace, I'm winning at this recovery stuff. I don't stay stuck in that angry spot that's just gonna like, it's not a good place to be. Like my focus is to get to my peace. My focus is to be healthy, to resolve these triggers. And some of them are deeper than others, right? But this gets me better. Like this keeps me moving forward, and I want to keep moving forward. And so I do this bit of work, and this is how I learn to accept things better in my life. So thanks, guys.